Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Got to tell you, a lot of stories today that my reaction was, I didn't see that coming. We'll get to that in a second. Quick stop off at late night. Did you see Senator Mullen challenged the president of the Teamsters to a fight? Yeah, apparently that happened, and Bernie Sanders had to break it up. Jimmy Kimmel said, this isn't the first time Bernie Sanders was forced to play the role of peacemaker. You know, when he was originally elected to the Senate, he tried to convince Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton to hug it out, and that didn't work either. That didn't end well at all. First story I wasn't expecting. Kevin Hart is the winner of the 25th annual Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. The Mark Twain Prize will honor Kevin Hart in a ceremony on March 24th. You hear the hesitation in my voice. Let me tell you the story, then we'll get to the hesitation. The center cited his iconic characters, inimitable physical comedy, and relatable narratives, as well as his achievements as a comedian, actor, writer, and producer. In a statement, Kevin Hart said, "To be honored in this commemorative year feels surreal. Comedy is my outlet for social commentary and observations on life. I'm grateful to the Kennedy Center for recognizing my voice and impact on culture. Can't wait to celebrate." All right, the hesitation in Johnny Mac's voice. Is Kevin Hart that funny? Look, I get that he's super popular, super charismatic, has some good films, I guess. Does he? Let's look that up. We'll start with the most recent Die Hard. Does anybody care? League of Super Pets? Jumanji, The Next Level? The Secret Life of Pets 2? First Jumanji? Captain Underpants? Central Intelligence? Ride Along 2? Get Hard? I feel like I'm forgetting something, so I have Googled the phrase Best Kevin Hart Movies, and I've come to movieweb.com, and their article of Best Kevin Hart Movies ranked 10, Captain Underpants, 9, Night School, 8, Ride Along, all right, 7, This Is the End, 6, 35 and Ticking, can you tell me what that even is? 5, Central Intelligence, all right, 4, Get Hard, 3, The Secret Life of Pets, 2, Jumanji, and 1 from 2014, Top 5. Top 5 tells the story of New York City comedian turned film star Andre Allen, whose unexpected encounter with a journalist forces him to confront the comedy career in the past that he's left behind. Chris Rock is in this movie. Jerry Seinfeld has a cameo. Does anyone remember this movie? Maybe it's just me. Again, Kevin Hart seems nice, works hard, decent body work. His comedy's all right. Here are some previous recipients of the Mark Twain Prize. Richard Pryor, Jonathan Winters, Carl Reiner, Whoopi Goldberg, Bob Newhart, Lily Tomlin, Lorne Michaels, Steve Martin, Neil Simon, Billy Crystal. Now, if we start from 2008, George Carlin. Bill Cosby won in 2009, but that was rescinded in 2018. Don't ask questions. Tina Fey, Will Ferrell, Ellen DeGeneres, Carol Burnett, Jay Leno, Eddie Murphy, Bill Murray, David Letterman, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Dave Chappelle, Jon Stewart, and now Kevin Hart. Again, I'm not going to think about this again until March, but my premise today was a lot of stuff that I was like, didn't see that coming. Matt Rife's new special's out on Netflix. Did you watch it yet? Rife says, it's incredible. My first 2 specials I had to do because I've been doing comedy for 10 and 11 years when I did them, and I was sitting on material. I was very proud of it, but I was like, I don't know what to do with it. Nobody wants to give me a special. What do I do? So I put them out on my own, which is very validating in of itself. But to have somebody come from another level be like, hey, we like what you're doing. We like what you've done for yourself. We want to invite you to work with us. It feels warm. It feels inviting. Netflix has been great about the entire creative process. Matt was asked if he was worried about, being canceled, basically, is the question. Every interview asked that question. Matt said, I don't really adhere to this whole sensitivity rumor in the comedy world that you can't say anything anymore. That's BS. You can say whatever you want. Now you have to prepare for repercussions, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how do you sleep at night? You know what I mean? Other people's perspective of you isn't your responsibility, so how can you sleep at night? The way I look at it is as a comedian, everything comes down to intent. I know for me, everything that leaves my mouth on stage is purely with the intention of making people laugh. It's never any deeper, never any more, or never any less than that. That's all it is to me. Now, I like dark humor. I don't believe there's anything you can't talk about if you do it correctly in the right way at the right time, and at the end of the day, I think you need to just go out there. You have to be yourself, not worry about offending a certain amount of people. You get the idea. I'll skip ahead on that answer. He was asked about being known for crowd work now, and Matt said, it's a surprise to me as well. It's also something I haven't been doing for that long. It became something that I had fun doing. One thing as a comedian, even though throughout your entire year you're growing and working on your material, you feel like you're getting a bit of Groundhog Day where you're telling the same 1-hour show over and over. Even I get tired of my own jokes if you tell them over and over again, so crowd work is spontaneous and unique. I like being surprised. And the ongoing theme of every Matt Rife interview this week is about his looks. Matt said one of the biggest misconceptions of things I get ridiculed online for is people are like, he only has a female fan base. In the beginning, yeah, because I blew up on TikTok, which is very female dominant, so I get that perspective. But when you come to the shows, I mean, it's 50-50. It's couples coming out, it's groups of dudes who are coming. That's one thing I wanted to tackle in this special, was showing people that, like, despite what you think of me online, I don't pander in my career to women. I would argue this special is way more for guys. I wanted to make this special for everybody. I pride myself in making my comedy for everybody. It's not for a specific demographic. I think if people would just give it a chance without going into it and be like, only girls like him, I think you'd like it. Here's another one of those stories I didn't expect at all. At the beginning of the Netflix Cup in Las Vegas, the TV cameras are on. All of a sudden, Bert Kriescher is seen making a beeline to stop a woman who was protesting. The protester appeared to be holding up a sign urging Formula One to cut ties with the Iditarod dog sled race. Yeah, a little twist there at the end there, Johnny Mac. I didn't think dog sled race Bert Kriescher was going to happen. As 51-year-old Bert Kriescher grabbed the woman, she was screaming about more than 150 dogs, and the cameras quickly cut away. In case you're curious, the Netflix Cup is a series of events featuring golfers and Formula One drivers. Here's another one I didn't expect from the Daily Mail. A millennium comedian dissed Generation Z in her stand-up routine. The routine was posted Monday on TikTok and fueled the age-old war between the olds and the youngs. Who is at the center of this amazing controversy? It is Iliza Schlesinger, who apparently went on a 4-minute rant about Gen Z and how they're not nice to millennials. Iliza said, because yours is a contextless generation made of sound bites and hot takes, you need to know a little bit about the history of my generation. We've taken it up the booty, I'm cleaning that up a little, for our whole existence. We were told we were lazy and that we could have everything, and then we got out of school if we could afford it, and there were no jobs, and there were no houses, and then they said we couldn't have avocados. A lot of us started doing weird stuff, like wearing owl jewelry and wide-brim hats, moving to Brooklyn, and making small-batch lavender ice cream. She insisted that the millennials ate the ice cream because it was the food of our people. However, the pandemic changed everything, according to Iliza Schlesinger, and Gen Z started saying stuff to us like, ooh, millennials, why are you so chuggy? A word you invented. Let me chime in here as representative of Generation X. You're both ridiculous. Hi from Old Man Mountain. How many people just went, F this guy, this podcast is stupid? Those of you who are still here, you hear me. I love you back. Schlesinger told her audience she could tell people in Gen Z were angry because of society, which was like a tire fire of an urban rummage sale. We're angry too, but we have heartburn and our backs hurt, but we're right there with you. Schlesinger discussed what connects millennials and Gen Zers. We're your older brothers and sisters who showed you how to smoke weed out of an apple. We're your bosses who will give you the day off because your fifis are retrograde, like we get it. And she added that people who are over 40 that wear their hair down with a part in the middle, you look like a witch. Anyway, apparently the Gen Zs are very upset with that. I told you the other day the New Zealanders were upset that John Oliver was meddling in their Bird of the Century contest. Well, congratulations to John Oliver and the Pudakatiki. Again, hope I'm saying that right. As you know, it's a threatened Australasian crested grebe. The announcement for the annual 2-week contest winner was delayed by 2 days after the competition was inundated with votes following John Oliver's announcement during Last Week Tonight. Oliver even appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon dressed in a Pudakatiki costume to promote the bird. The bird is known for carrying its young on its back, sharing chick-rearing responsibilities, and eating its own feathers to induce vomiting as a method to expel parasites. It has a chorus of grunts, growls, and barks, and engages in an elaborate set of mating dances, including the weed dance, where the birds offer each other water weed, and the ghostly penguin, where they rise chest to chest. The competition normally attracts just under 60,000 votes. This year, 350,000 votes, with 290,374 going to the Pudakatiki, or however it's said. Thousands of fraudulent votes had to be weeded out, including 40,000 votes cast by a single person. Oh, not for John Oliver's bird. The 40,000 were cast for the Tawaki Piki Toka Eastern Rockhopper Penguin. Say that 5 times fast. I got it right on take 3. New Zealand's national bird, the North Island brown kiwi, came second with 12,000 votes. Again, the winner had 290,000. And the world's only alpine parrot, the clever key, third place, 12,060 votes. Forest and Bird Chief Executive Nicola Toki said, "We're not surprised these charming characteristics caught the eye of an influential bird enthusiast with a massive following." Good answer. Oliver said, "They're weird puking birds with colorful mullets. What's not to love here?" A conservation project started in 2013 has increased the population from a low of 200 in the 1980s to just under 1,000 today. We haven't been a gossip corner in a while. Apparently, some fancy people were at Leonardo DiCaprio's 49th birthday in L.A., seen leaving the party together. Olivia Wilde and Chris Rock. The Daily Mail says they didn't hide the fact they were leaving together. They were spotted having a great time, and they jumped into an awaiting SUV. A driver sped away, so fans have no indication if they were headed to the same spot or if Chris Rock was just hooking her up with a ride. Adam Sandler stopped by Drake University, posed with the men's basketball team, and shot some hoops. The Drake's men's basketball official Facebook page shared some photos. The university said it was great having the legend, Adam Sandler, stop by the practice facility before his show tonight in Des Moines. All right, I caught up on some podcasts. What Now with Trevor Noah? As I was listening to it, and I really like Trevor, I was like, another interview show. And then as I listened to it, I was like, you know what? This is a good interview show. The interview with The Rock was very interesting. Looking forward to seeing who Trevor has on today. I checked out Tosh's show. I went back and forth. I was like, ooh, I'm excited for this. And then I saw that guest one was, quote, my wife's gynecologist. And I was like, So I hit play on it. And the opening segment, surprisingly, really funny, like way funnier than I expected. And I was like, oh, this is really good. I'm excited about this one. And that was just the mess around with clips segment. And then the guest was his wife's gynecologist. I hit unfollow, not for me. All of a sudden, yesterday, Dan Soder tweeted, hey, my new podcast is out. Dan Soder's podcast is called Soder. Episode 1 is called Ejected from the Car with Big J Okerson. As a bit of a podcast expert, this looks like it's homemade. I don't feel like there's a company behind this. I feel like somebody who knows just enough about putting out a podcast just put this out. Not sure what's going on there. If you are a new listener, and a lot of new listeners lately, welcome aboard. Sometimes comedy intersects with serious topics. Lately, it has been the Israel-Hamas war. So I try to do those stories after the commercial break because I know you come here for comedy. So I try and do the fun stuff up front and the more serious stuff in the back here. Jon Lovitz is criticizing John Oliver. Recently on Last Week Tonight, John Oliver exposed how U.S. money, weapons, and training have boosted the suffering of the Palestinians at the hands of Israel. He played a clip of a Palestinian telling reporters about how his daughter was killed by American weapons in the hands of Israelis. Oliver commented that the Made in America slogan that we're all so proud of is being strapped onto stuff that's killing people. Jon Lovitz took issue with the way John Oliver framed the issue on Twitter. I'm not calling it the other thing. Jon Lovitz tweeted, because it's Twitter, yes, the United States is aligned with Israel, our democratic ally, not Hamas, a terrorist organization who broke a 2-year ceasefire, murdered at least 1,200 innocent civilians, and took 240 civilian hostages back with them so they could start a never-ending war with Israel and annihilate Israel and then Jews all over the world. Lovitz posted again about Oliver's clip, this time sharing an Israel Today article headlined, Hamas terrorists confess to raping corpses, beheading children. The comedian told John Oliver, please talk about this on your next show. That brings us to awkward segue, Lewis Black. He has announced the dates for his final tour. Lewis said in a statement, I'm only retiring from touring. It's time for me to explore other avenues such as writing, reading your rants, and pitching TV shows that will be rejected, which is why I know they're good. More importantly, I can finally give my fantasy football team the focus and time it truly needs, and maybe, just maybe, I can become the professional golfer I was born to be. The tour is called Goodbye Yeller Brick Road. I like it. The final tour begins today in Troy, New York. He'll be in Peak School tomorrow, Waterbury, Connecticut, and New London over the weekend. I'm not going to read you 50 dates. This thing goes all the way, so far, into next May. He had said he would tour through the end of 2024. But some interesting dates here at the end. May 14th, Amsterdam. Yes, that one. Then Brussels, London, Berlin, and Stockholm. Interesting choices. The various friends paid tribute to Matthew Perry. It was interesting. One friend put out a statement, and suddenly another friend put out a statement, and then the other friends were like, oh, we better put out statements too. I think the sequence went like this. I'm not sure if I have it 100% correct, but I think Matt LeBlanc went first on Instagram. Matt LeBlanc wrote, it was with heavy heart I say goodbye. The times we had together are honestly among the favorite times of my life. It was an honor to share the stage with you and call you my friend. I'll always smile when I think of you, and I'll never forget you. Never. Spread your wings and fly, brother. You're finally free. Much love. Then Courtney Cox posted, I'm so grateful for every moment I had with you, Maddie, and I miss you every day. When you work with someone as closely as I did with Matthew, there are thousands of moments I wish I could share. For now, here's one of my favorites. To give a little backstory, Chandler and Monica were supposed to have a one-night fling in London, but because of the audience's reaction, it became the beginning of their love story. In this scene, before we started rolling, he whispered a funny line for me to say. He often did things like that. He was funny and he was kind. Her video shared 2 clips. One was a clip of what aired on the show, and the other was a longer version that showed how close Cox and Perry were in real life. Then the next day, I think we heard from Jennifer Aniston on Instagram. She wrote, "Oh boy, this one is cut deep. Having to say goodbye to our Maddie has been an insane wave of emotions that I've never experienced before. We all experience loss at some point in our lives. Loss of life or loss of love. Being able to really sit in the grief allows you to feel the moments of joy and gratitude for having loved someone that deep. And we loved him deeply. He was such a part of our DNA. We were always the six of us. This was a chosen family that forever changed the course of who we were and what our path was going to be. For Maddie, he knew he loved to make people laugh. As he said himself, if he didn't hear the laugh, he thought he was going to die. His life literally depended on it. And boy, did he succeed in doing just that. He made all of us laugh and laugh hard." Then we heard from David Schwimmer. Schwimmer wrote, "I will never forget your impeccable comic timing and delivery. You could take a straight line of dialogue and bend it to your will, resulting in something so entirely original and unexpectedly funny, it still astonishes. And you had heart, which you were generous with and shared with us so we could create a family out of 6 strangers." Schwimmer accompanied his caption with a photo of his and Perry's characters, Ross and Chandler, in their Miami Vice-inspired college attire. Schwimmer called the image one of my favorite moments with you. Now it makes me smile and grieve at the same time. Imagine you up there somewhere in the same white suit, hands in your pockets, looking around. Could there be any more clouds? And that's your comedy news for today. If you like the show, tell somebody about it. They might like it too. If you are new, we do this 7 days a week. Please hang around. You can follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Meet you back here tomorrow.